All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to brew up some clarity on a topic that, it fills our cups and our news feeds every single day. The real connection between coffee, tea, and your brain's long-term health.
I mean, you've seen the headlines, right? They swing wildly from one extreme to the other. One day, coffee is this miracle cure. The next, it's a memory killer. It's just so confusing.
And with all that conflicting information, it honestly feels impossible to know what to believe. But that's what we're here for. Today, we're going to cut right through that noise and get to the bottom of this by looking at the actual science. So, okay, let's dive in.
All right, first things first. Let's tackle the biggest, most persistent myth you hear about caffeine. You know, the one that causes all that unnecessary worry?
So this is the big one you see everywhere, right? It's all over social media, spread by so-called experts. This idea that your daily cup of coffee is actively harming your memory. But is there any truth to that at all?
Well, the actual science points in the complete opposite direction. And look, this isn't just one rogue study we're talking about. No. This is a consistent finding across years and years of clinical research. The consensus is that caffeine has what's called a neuroprotective effect. That's just a fancy way of saying it actually helps shield your brain from damage and might even enhance its function.
So, the case for coffee and tea, it doesn't just stop at debunking myths. It's not just about them not being harmful. There's actually really strong evidence suggesting a real protective benefit.
And in fact, long before this became a hot topic in the news, scientists were already seeing a really clear pattern emerge. Take, for example, a major study from 2021. It gave us some seriously strong clues about this powerful connection between these drinks and our brain health.
Okay, so here's the really crucial point from that study. It wasn't just, oh, coffee is good, or oh, tea is good. It was the powerful synergistic effect. That's the magic that happens when you combine them. When both are part of a daily routine, that combination seems to offer the most significant protection. It's a real 1 + 1 = 3 kind of situation.
Now, all of this previous research was basically setting the stage for what came next. A massive, truly game-changing study from one of the world's most respected universities. You could think of it as the star witness in this whole case.
And listen, we're not talking about some small, obscure study here. This is a landmark piece of research. It came out of Harvard University's nutrition department, and it was published in one of the absolute top medical journals on the planet. This is the kind of evidence that makes everyone, scientists, doctors, you name it, sit up and pay attention.
And just look at the sheer scale of this thing. The study was enormous. We're talking over 130,000 health professionals. To put that into perspective, that's not a handful of people. That is a small city's worth of participants. It's just huge.
And get this, they didn't just check in on them once. Researchers tracked these people for over 4 decades, 43 years. A follow-up that long gives you an incredibly rare, incredibly powerful view of how diet impacts our health over an entire lifetime. You just don't see data like this very often.
So, over that very long period, a little over 11,000 of the participants were eventually diagnosed with dementia. And what that means is the researchers had this massive, rich data set to work with, to hunt for patterns and risk factors.
So the big question is, with this incredible amount of data collected over such a long time from so many people, what was the final verdict? What did they find about coffee and its link to brain health?
And the result? Well, it's stunningly clear. Just look at this. The group with the lowest coffee intake had a rate of 330 dementia cases. But the group with the highest intake? Only 141. That's less than half the risk. It's a massive difference.
Now, here's a really critical distinction the study found. This powerful protective effect, it was only seen with caffeinated coffee and tea. Decaf drinkers didn't get that same benefit. And that strongly suggests that caffeine itself, or maybe compounds that hang out with it, is the real key ingredient doing the heavy lifting here.
Okay, so this seems like an open and shut case, right? The answer is just drink more coffee, protect your brain. End of story. But not so fast. The story has one final and absolutely crucial twist.
So, does this mean we should start treating coffee like some kind of magic bullet for the brain? Is it time to start prescribing a few cups a day as a miracle cure and just, ignore everything else? Well, the study's own lead researchers stepped in with a really important warning. They basically said, hold on, don't treat coffee or tea like a magic bullet. It's a piece of the puzzle, for sure,
but it is not the whole picture.
And this idea echoes a core principle you hear from health experts all over the world, right? It always comes back to the fundamentals, like you see here. Regular exercise, a balanced diet. These two things, they are the true, undisputed foundation of long-term health for your brain and for your whole body.
So, what's the bottom line here? The big takeaway from all this? It's this. Enjoying your daily coffee or tea can absolutely be part of a brain-healthy lifestyle, but you have to think of them as a helpful supplement to your good habits, not a substitute for them. They just can't undo the effects of a bad diet or not getting enough exercise.
And you know, that brings us to the real key. It's not just about coffee, it's about this whole process. Seeing a sensational headline, taking a breath, questioning it, looking at the actual research, and understanding the nuance. That right there is the most powerful tool you have. It's what protects not just your physical health, but also your peace of mind from all that noise out there. Thanks for joining me.